3:29 a.m., November 13th, 2022. A white sedan glides past an off-campus house in Moscow, Idaho. Inside, 4 young students sleep, unaware of what's about to shatter their world. By 4:25 a.m., 3 bedrooms, 4 lives ended. No alarm, no 911 call from inside, just the haunting silence left in the aftermath.
We found 4 students. They're unresponsive. Multiple stab wounds. This isn't good.
The crime would grip a college town. The suspect, a Ph.D. student in criminology. His motive? Still unknown. Tonight, we peel back the layers of one of the most chilling student murders in U.S. history. On November 13th, 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were found murdered in an off-campus home at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Their names: Madison, Maddie, Mogen, 21, Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 20. 3 of them, Goncalves, Mogen, and Kernodle, were roommates. Chapin was Kernodle's boyfriend and staying there. 2 other roommates were in the house but survived unharmed. The suspect, Bryan Christopher Kohberger, born November 21st, 1994. He holds an associate degree in psychology from Northampton Community College, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and a master's degree in criminal justice from DeSales University. In the summer of 2022, he began a Ph.D. program in criminology at Washington State University, Pullman, located less than 8 miles from Moscow, Idaho. He served as a teaching assistant at WSU. Just before his arrest, there were concerns and complaints about his behavior toward women. November 12th to 13th, early morning. The home at 1122 King Road is quiet. The 4 are sleeping, doors locked. No indication of threat to neighbors. Time-stamped digital activity provides some clues. The house is near the university but off campus. A rented home, typical student housing. The surviving roommates are asleep, unaware. Law enforcement timeline after discovery. 911 call comes in that morning when roommates find the bodies. Autopsies begin. The public is anxious. News spreads. Students fear for safety. Rumors swirl. Between 4 a.m. and 4:25 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, the 4 students were fatally stabbed in their beds while they slept. The attacks happened in 2 separate bedrooms on different floors. Goncalves and Mogen upstairs, Kernodle and Chapin downstairs. Autopsy findings: multiple stab wounds. Some victims had defensive wounds. They were likely asleep when attacked. No sexual assault reported. 2 roommates were in the house, but not physically harmed. 1 roommate said she woke up around 4 a.m., heard noises, crying, maybe words. She opened her door and saw a masked figure walking past toward a sliding glass door. She froze, watched. The figure left, locked bedroom door. This surviving roommate's testimony is key because it places a masked intruder inside the house, navigating between bedrooms. It also rules out the theory that the killer was known to the victims as someone special. A knife sheath was found on one of the beds where 2 victims were killed. A sheath, not the blade, but critical evidence. No weapon was recovered at the time of the initial investigation. The attacker apparently left through a sliding glass door at the back of the house, based on surveillance and apartment layout. Police locked down parts of Moscow. University of Idaho eliminates classes temporarily. Students and families are fearful. Rumors. Was it random? Targeted? A stalker? A serial killer? Is someone on campus unsafe? Law enforcement says no known threat to the community initially, then later indicates they cannot rule out danger. After the discovery, local police, Moscow police, Idaho State Police, and the FBI were all involved. Over 1,000 tips flood in from the public. Investigators identify the house, contact surviving roommates, interview those roommates, search for surveillance videos, cell phone logs, and neighbor videos. A knife sheath found at the scene carried DNA that matched Kohberger. Also, investigators collected trash from his parents' home in Pennsylvania and matched discarded DNA to the sheath. Phone and cell tower data showed Kohberger's phone was in the coverage area of the King Road house multiple times in the preceding days. Phone ping data and surveillance of his white Hyundai Elantra, seen in the area between approximately 3:29 a.m. and 4:20 a.m., helped establish his presence near the crime scene. Surveillance footage showed a white sedan, Elantra, driving by the house multiple times in the early morning hours. Vehicle later linked to Kohberger. Evidence collection from Kohberger's apartment and car, including gloves and possibly stained items. On December 30th, 2022, Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania at his parents' home, extradited to Idaho. He was initially charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder, plus felony burglary. Prosecutors sought the death penalty. The grand jury indicted him in May 2023. Plea entered, not guilty initially. On July 2, 2025, Kohberger pleaded guilty to all counts as part of a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. On July 23, 2025, Kohberger was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole, plus an additional 10 years for burglary. He was also ordered to pay fines and restitution, totaling about $270,000. The house at 1122 King Road, where the murders occurred, was donated to the University of Idaho and demolished on December 28, 2023. The Vandal Healing Garden on campus opened in 2024 in memory of the students. Scholarships were created in the names of Kernodle, Chapin, and Mogen. Posthumous degrees awarded. Families of victims' emotional statements at sentencing. Public outcry over the lack of a clear motive. Many in the community demanded answers. Why him? Why them? The fear it could have been any student. As of sentencing, the motive remains publicly unknown. Court documents, forensic evidence, and the plea did not include a motive explanation. Investigations showed no known personal relationship between Kohberger and the victims. No evidence that he targeted them specifically. 4 young lives, full of promise. A quiet house off King Road. No alarm, no witness screaming their name, just the aftermath of a horror none should endure. Bryan Kohberger, once a student of criminology, became the story's darkest character. Intelligent? Yes, but intelligence doesn't always safeguard compassion. The truth of motive remains hidden, forcing a community to live with the questions. We build memorials, we demand justice, but there's a wound that cannot be stitched, the loss of innocence, the fear that it could happen to someone you love. This case reminds us, even in peaceful places, safety can feel fragile. Justice may be served, but the void left behind is immeasurable.
If you found this case chilling, like, share, and subscribe. There's more waiting just beneath the surface.